Hey there, folks. My name is Dazerin, and we're not playing a game today. Instead, I'm here with my friend Tim. Say hello.
Hello.
And we noticed that the video game Spike Video Game Award nominees have been put up. So we were actually already going through and kind of choosing which ones we thought were going to win. But now I'm like, this would make for a really good little video, like a kind of a podcast type thing. So I figured, why don't we just record the whole thing? So this whole thing lets you choose, favorite or what you think is game of the year, action adventure game, RPG, DLC. You can see right here. But we're gonna go through them one by one. We've already gotten up. I think we were at shooter when we decided to do this.
Yes. Actually, we were ending it at shooter. Yeah, that is right.
Okay, so we only did like 3 of them, and there's like, I don't know, 15 or so. So
Yeah.
we didn't get through a whole lot of them. But we're going to go through and basically just kind of talk about the nominees, whether or not they deserve to be, in the nominee tickets, and which one we think is going to win or should win. So
Right.
we're going to start with just the big one, which is Game of the Year. Obviously, last year, Walking Dead Season 1, they got the winning prize of Game of the Year for that year, which completely and
Right.
utterly deserved it, I thought.
I think the top 2 for last year that definitely deserved it were The Walking Dead and Journey. And, whoever won, they won. And either way, I think it was still a great victory nonetheless.
I still haven't played Journey just because I don't have a PS3. I'm getting a
Right.
PS3 though. I'm gonna get a PS3.
You won't regret it, I promise. It's one hell of an adventure.
Oh yeah, I know that Journey's gonna be a lot of fun, and I can't wait to go through like Uncharted, this whole series, Last of Us.
Uncharted will keep you busy.
I can't wait till I can play MGS4 again because I have my copy.
Yeah, there you go.
So it'll be nice to go through all that stuff and catch up on all the amazing things. Beyond Two Souls, I do want to try, as well as Heavy Rain.
Right.
So it'll be cool seeing those. But anyway, getting to Game of the Year this year, we kind of the nominees here. I think most of them deserve to be in this Game of the Year selection.
Right.
Tim, you said 3 of them you think really deserve.
Yeah.
3 of them win, or if one of the 3 win, which for you were.
The Last of Us, Grand Theft Auto 5, and BioShock Infinite. Really quickly, the reason to elaborate for all the viewers why I chose those, I think Grand Theft Auto 5 is very self-explanatory. It's just an all-around perfect game. There's so much to do outside of just the basic what Grand Theft Auto is known for: stealing cars, running people over, just randomly killing people. There are plenty of other additions to the game that make the game so much more unique and well-rounded. The Last of Us is definitely, obviously it's the Naughty Dog approach. It definitely has that naughty, that Uncharted feel to it. But it's more. There's a lot of spunk to it. The relationship between Joel and Ellie, I think, is very unique. The storyline is just unforgettable. One of the best stories I have ever gotten to experience this entire generation. And then BioShock Infinite, really quickly, was just anyone who's ever played it. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but the storyline, just especially when you hit that ending, it's just bam right in the face. It's incredible.
It's the aha moment.
It's the aha moment, yes.
And I mean, if you guys watched my playthrough of BioShock Infinite, you already know the whole thing. But yeah, BioShock Infinite, I agree. The storyline for that game is definitely surprising and amazing, and there is that aha moment. And what I was saying before, I haven't played Last of Us, so I can't comment on it, even though I really would like to. Tomb Raider was a good game, and I think it belongs in the list. I don't think it's going to win. I think it was a great reboot for the series. The story was really well done. The gameplay was really engaging and amazing. I really enjoyed it. Can't talk about Super Mario because I don't have a Wii U. Neither of us do. So, but
yeah,
GTA 5,
I wish.
GTA 5, in my opinion, is again as close to the perfect game as possible this year. The gameplay is amazing. The storyline in that game is magnificent. And what we were saying before we started recording was that, or what I was saying is, GTA 5. What I like about GTA 5 is that, like BioShock Infinite has that amazing factor to it, the amazing factor for Bioshock Infinite is mostly at the end of the game. The game throughout is great, but it's during that ending part that really you get that aha moment. Whereas GTA 5, I felt like was this perfect storytelling as well as great gameplay from beginning to end. And so,
Well, I think the ending was also extremely fulfilling, and I think, especially depending on if you chose the proper ending.
depending on which ending you choose, which there is a choice if you have not played through it yet.
Yeah.
I ended my playthrough after introducing Trevor. So if you guys wanted to play that, you need to get on it because I ended up like staying up till like 5 a.m. trying to beat it night after night. So definitely, my pick was GTA 5. Yours was GTA 5 as well, right?
Yes. Yeah, I'm going to go with GTA 5. I mean, it's good to have an unforgettable story. Like if I were to go strictly by story, Infinite would have had it. But the thing about it is you can't go based off of story, and the gameplay elements were just totally in the favor of Grand Theft Auto 5.
You can't go based on story alone.
Yeah, alone. That's what I meant. Yeah, alone.
All right, so we'll move on. Next, Studio of the Year.
Okay.
And, like, what did the Fulbright company make?
Fulbright, that's actually a good question. For some reason, I'm actually checking for us right now.
Because, I mean, Irrational Games, Bioshock Infinite, obviously.
Why does it just, for some reason, it sounds familiar. I'm just trying to figure out what game they made.
Irrational Games, obviously, is Bioshock Infinite. Naughty Dog, Last of Us, Uncharted, Rockstar, GTA, obviously. Tim and I actually agreed on this one. We felt that Naughty Dog deserved it. Again, look up Fulbright because unless...
It's Gone Home. The guys who created Gone Home.
Oh, man. Gone Home is amazing. It's a really good game. But
now, what is Gone Home about? I've actually never played it. It's obviously an indie title.
Indie title. Gone Home basically is... It's really hard. It's an exploratory adventure game where you play as a girl who is coming home from studying abroad, and you come home to your new house that your parents moved into with your younger sister after you left. So you've never actually been there before, and you get home and you realize that no one is there, and it's about you trying to figure out where they are, what happened.
Right.
And it's more or less about telling a story through the things that are in the environment. So, like, it has the most detailed environmental abilities that I've ever seen in a game. Like, if there's a cup there, you can pick up the cup, you can rotate it, you can look at, if it says Best Mom of 98, you can, like, look at it, see, like, if there's anything else, Made in China, whatever you want to do. And it's just so detailed. But there's certain elements to it that you start to wonder what's going on with the game. I don't want to spoil it. I did a playthrough of it. It's 3 episodes long if you want to watch it. But right. I have to recommend everybody play it. Everybody needs to play it. Tim, actually, I would recommend that you really need to play it. For what reasons, I can't tell you until after you've beaten the game.
Right.
But trust me when I say you will appreciate that game probably more than a lot of people would. And I can't say why, but you would appreciate it in ways that many people probably wouldn't. So
I could probably buy it later tonight.
Yeah, it's $10-15, something like that. Definitely.
It's 20.
20? Okay. It's worth it. Trust me. It's amazing. You can spend 2 hours in that game. You could spend 8 hours in that game. It really depends on how involved you get with exploring the world.
Hell, even Polygon gave it a 10 out of 10, and it takes a lot to get Polygon to even give anybody a good score nowadays.
Yeah, so I highly recommend it. And I mean, if that had been in the Game of the Year list, I would have been contending it with GTA 5, honestly. It is a masterpiece of a game. Fulbright Company, I would like to say, if there's an best indie studio, I would say them, because I don't know that they have anything else under their belt. Whereas the reason why we chose Naughty Dog is that Naughty Dog has put out, The Last of Us and then the past 3 Uncharted games, and they've done that in a pretty quick succession of time, and each one of them is really, really well made. So they make really good quality games, over a shorter amount of time. Rockstar makes great games, but GTA 4 to 5 was, what, 5 years?
Yeah.
And Bioshock to Bioshock Infinite, again, was a huge jump. So while all the studios here are amazing, I feel like Naughty Dog deserves it best because I feel like they've done the most.
They overachieved this entire generation.
Right.
I would definitely have to say that, major props to Rockstar, Irrational, and Fulbright for what they do. I just feel that Naughty Dog created a franchise out of nothing. They didn't have much advertising in the beginning, and they made it so successful that they made 2 other, sequels. And those were even more successful, especially number 2 being one of the highest rated video games ever. And Among Thieves is in my heart the best, or one of the best, sorry. Now, I'm not going to say the best, but one of the best games ever in the last 7 to 8 years. If you've never played Among Thieves, I promise you, once you play it and once you beat the game, you will agree with me that you just can't beat the gameplay elements. You can't beat the story elements. You can't. And the characters, too, the character relations, you will love it. So.
Yeah, definitely.
But I definitely agree. Naughty Dog.
All right, so Studio of the Year, we think Naughty Dog. And if you guys want to, say something else, like if you disagree, you're more than welcome to do so. We would love to see your comments in the comment section on what you guys think about these choices. Best shooter, this is where we were at.
Right.
We have Battlefield 4, we have Bioshock Infinite, we have Call of Duty Ghost, and we have Metro Last Light.
Right.
All right, so, and this is where it gets tricky because, a shooter, and this is what we were just getting into this when we were about to start recording, or when we decided to start doing this. Do we label this as best shooter in terms of this has the best shooting mechanic, or best shooter in terms of this is the best overall game that is a first-person shooter?
Right. Now, if it goes by based on mechanic and how well everything works out in the shooter aspect, Battlefield 4 would definitely have it hands down. The mechanics are incredible, but I will say when it comes to how I'm going to rate it, and I'm sure you're going to agree with me on this, is creativity and uniqueness, something that makes it different, something that makes it stand out.
Right.
And out of all of these games, Infinite, and you and I talked about this before we were recording when we were actually talking about the shooter choice, is that Infinite just... it's all the different first person mechanics you have, and I understand that we shouldn't judge this based on first person mechanics alone, but the shooting aspects. But when you go to the shooting aspects, you have a lot of the different powers that you're given in that game that make it so much fun. The crows, the Bronco. I'm trying to remember all the names because it's been a couple of months since I played it, but You know what I'm talking about.
Right. Yeah. And actually, it's funny. Now that we're looking at this again, I'm starting to think like, and this is not necessarily Battlefield 4, but I remember when Battlefield 3 came out, one of the things I did is I got the beta for it, and I had a PC that was able to run it at medium to high settings. I was like, oh, I can experience Battlefield 3 in high settings. And you know what I did in the beta?
Huh.
I dropped into the battlefield, ran to a hill of some sort. I was a sniper. I would get my sniper out, look through the rifle. I wouldn't shoot anybody. I would just look around and look at how beautiful the game was. That's what I did. I usually got killed, but I was like,
you need to see 4. Holy!
I played the beta for 4 actually. I played it the beta, and
did you get like about high settings on it?
Yeah, I played it with the highest settings.
It's ridiculous. The physics, like I was thinking, honest to God, that like you do get a Battlefield 3.5 kind of vibe out of it, but when you look around you, the lighting, the special effects, the physics, like the particle effects,
right?
When you're seeing, especially in the Shanghai online level, you actually see to millions of pieces of debris flying around you in a realistic fashion as if it really is a war zone. It's that little added effect that adds to the realism of your environment.
Oh, yeah. But, and when I played Battlefield 3, I felt like for the first time in a shooter, I felt like I was actually like on a battlefield. Like that was how I felt. And I feel like Battlefield 4 still has that kind of unique.
It definitely does.
I feel like I'm in something that's more real, kind of aspect to it, and I think that in itself makes it a unique shooter. Apart from it makes something that's apart from a Call of Duty type title. So now that I'm really thinking about it, I'm actually now starting to try and figure out if I want to go with Infinite or if I want to go with Battlefield 4.
See, that's even what I was mentioning before we were recording. As I said I was kind of stuck in between Battlefield 4 and BioShock Infinite because I really want both of them to win. But
now I haven't played Metro Last Light. Have you?
No. I wanted to get it. I don't know. Like I don't know much about Metro. I know that's more laziness on my part. I
have Metro 2033 and I played a little bit of it. I did it during a live stream. And I mean, the shooting aspect of it is a shooter. It's a shooter / horror type game because there's like these weird creatures and stuff in the night that you have to like defend yourself against, which is pretty cool. But I can't say anything on Metro Last Light. I have not played it. 2033, if it's anything like it, I'm sure it's a pretty good title. People talk very highly about 2033. But I can't say for sure on my own whether or not Last Light is any good or not, or how it plays or anything. So, and Ghosts I haven't played either, but I'm not a really big Call of Duty fan. So, I mean, I have a lot of them, but I don't play them really. So I think, I think my pick. And BioShock Infinite, I really enjoyed that game, but I felt like the gameplay got really repetitive over time.
That was, I think, one of the downfall parts was that...
Although, I think it was part of my own fault because I kept using the same power. Like, I kept using the electricity attack in my playthrough of it. So I guess I feel like that's kind of my own fault that it got repetitive. But, like, non-spoilers, the last big battle of the game is incredibly annoying.
You're talking about on the ship?
Yes.
That I had to do so many times over.
I hated it so much.
It was so...
I wanted it to be over.
I almost actually gave up and just quit the game altogether, but I told myself, just keep trying, you're going to get it. And then when I got it, I'm like, as much as I know in the future I'm going to want to replay the game, I won't. Because of that battle.
Yeah, that battle was a pain in the ass. I think I'm going to go with Battlefield 4, actually.
I was going with Infinite, but now kind of thinking of that ending, I'm just kind of like, no. But that's not a proper way to judge it, so I won't judge it based off of that.
Yeah, that is true.
I do want to go off of... This is the thing, though. I'm hardcore Battlefield. I play Battlefield religiously, but I will say that I'm going to go to Infinite.
Yeah.
My pick's going to go to Infinite because there still is the creativity in the first-person shooting aspect.
In theory, and its execution is really good with BioShock Infinite. It is something unique. It is not just a plain old shooter.
And if you actually choose to use the different powers they give you, the combos you can pull off. Like, I had so many different combos I pulled off. And I think it's unique. I
definitely agree. Yeah, I think in terms of best shooter in terms of uniqueness and how much it does in terms of being its own thing. Yeah, let's give it to Infinite. I'm going to go to Infinite. All right, next up,
best action adventure game. So we have Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, Grand Theft Auto 5, The Last of Us, and Tomb Raider.
Now I've only played 2 of these 4.
I've played. I played 3. I've watched almost all the cutscenes and gameplay walkthroughs for Assassin's Creed 4, so I have somewhat of a judgment.
I was gonna say you know Assassin's Creed better than I do, anyway.
And I am getting it with my PlayStation 4 once the next shipment comes. But
so for me, it's GTA 5 and Tomb Raider, the 2 that I have played. I have not played Last of Us. I have not played Assassin's Creed 4. In fact, I haven't played Assassin's Creed 3. I haven't played Revelations, and I haven't played Brotherhood. I'm very far behind. I have all of them. I have all of them now, actually, minus 4, but I just haven't played them. I have Brotherhood, I have Revelations, and I have 3 all on Steam because they were on sale, and I bought them going, hey, I can buy this now, and then I'll play it, and I still haven't gotten to them. I love Assassin's Creed. The first one was repetitive, but I really still enjoyed it. The second one was a blast, and I stopped playing it because I think another game came about and I just forgot to get back to it. But once I got back to it, I powered through it and loved it. And now I just got to get through the other 3 games. So that'll be a while. But GTA 5, obviously, we've already talked about extensively. Tomb Raider,
Right.
best action adventure game. Tomb Raider is a really good action adventure game. That's for sure.
Tomb Raider was great. I think my only quarrel was that
It's very Uncharted-like.
well, no. Actually, I felt like it was unique in some aspects in its own way. I think my issue was that they put pressure in the beginning when she started really working on the survival aspect after she started becoming a target, on the fact that you need to hunt. But there was really no repercussions for that because I went through a lot of that game barely ever eating food or hunting at all.
I never did.
And that's my problem is that why did you give me these different traits, these different abilities, and then tell me how important it is, but then not punish me for not using them? It kind of defeats the whole aspect that she is meant to be a professional survivor, and I didn't get to fully utilize that aspect. So I think that really kind of hinders my choice of choosing Tomb Raider.
Now, what I'm going to do to contend that, though, is in Tomb Raider, one of the cool things that I found was the actual discovering tombs in the game. In one of the places, you're not required to go and find these tombs. They are completely up to you to find. But when you do find them, they're not like, oh, it's a little cave or a little caveat. It is a full-blown, like, full level. I remember I was going through the story, and I found a tomb, and I was going in, and I'm like, I legitimately thought it was part of the storyline, that this is where I needed to go next in order to progress the story.
Right.
It turned out that it was nothing more than just a side tomb that I had found. And it was like 2 or 3 hours later, I come out of there, and I'm like, wait a minute, that wasn't part of the story? No, that was a side tomb, and it was not necessary for me to go through. And I was like, okay, that was freaking amazing. And like, there are some where you find them by blowing up a rock that's in front of a cave, and you don't see it until you blow up the rock. There's a lot of really cool hidden things that you can choose to find, and when you do, they are huge.
Right.
So in that aspect of the game, I think Tomb Raider was an amazing action-adventure game. And in terms of it being able to, you can kind of just wander around. Obviously, it doesn't have the same exploration that something like GTA 5 does. But for what it was, being on this island that you don't know and trying to figure out what's going on, I felt that it did a great job with having those side tombs that are just gigantic, and you didn't feel like they were just cheaply thrown in. Right.
Now, Assassin's Creed 4 is looking to be fantastic. Everything I've seen about it, all the walkthroughs I've watched, all the cutscenes and everything.
Pirate, I mean...
It looks incredible. It looks like it's a lot of fun, especially the fact that they're putting more of an emphasis on what people loved about Assassin's Creed 3 with the PlayStation 3 bonus mission, the naval battles.
Right.
The naval battles are addicting. They're so much fun, and it gets your adrenaline going. It's a lot of fun, and they did it really, really, really well, it seems, in this one. So I will give them credit for making it even more unique. Edward Kenway is a remarkable character. Actually, he's starting to be labeled more and more as like the favorite assassin. That used to be held by Ezio Auditore with Assassin's Creed 2, Brotherhood, and Revelations. But I'm admiring his character. He's very adventurous. He's a very unique individual. Right. So, but I'm not going to base the game off of his characteristics. I just think.
Right. And then obviously, again, GTA 5. It is like the closest to a perfect game, in my opinion, that we have so far in terms of gameplay, story, exploration in that game is amazing. There's so many small little things, and one of the coolest things, we did the Extra Life live stream, and I had already beaten GTA 5, and I still played GTA 5 for another 6 hours during that live stream, just doing side missions. And one of the coolest things that happens in GTA 5 is random missions will pop up on your radar where you're driving around.
Right.
There'll be these little blips of like a blue dot, and if you go there, a mission is just randomly there. Like it could be there's a bank car, truck, or whatever, and there's a guy who's got a bag of money, and you can steal that, and then you have to get away from the police. There's a guy who, he's getting held up by a bunch of druggies, and if you shoot the druggies, he'll give you the drugs, but then more druggies come, and you have to shoot there are these they're smaller missions, but they pop up everywhere. Somebody's car gets stolen, you get it back for them, things like that, and it feels like it's a game that won't end.
Right.
So GTA 5, again, it's so good. It's so well made. The 5 years they spent on that game
was worth it.
Definitely. Well worth it. Last of Us, you'll have to talk about.
Last of Us is...
But don't give too many spoilers because
No. I'm not gonna give any spoilers. Actually, for the example I'm gonna use for a thing that I think also helps give it some leeway here in this contest is that I'm gonna use a public demo because I think this is actually one of the best examples because there's a million different examples, but I'm not gonna spoil it. A public example, a really good example is. Okay, well, first before I start talking about the example, I'm so sorry I kind of got out of whack there. I think The Last of Us is like the absolute perfect definition of an action adventure game. It is the absolute perfect one because it's all clearly made hell-bent on survival. You actually take supplies that you find and you build stuff like bombs, Molotovs and such. You build a lot of your weapons or you find them, and everything like weapon ammunition is scarce. For instance, the public demo from E3 a couple of years ago where...
I was going to say that demo was amazing.
That demo, the fact that even your enemies, that the AI is so intelligent enough that it actually recognizes when you're out of ammo, when it hears that click. And I like the guy where he says, I heard that motherfucker. He's just like, come on.
I have to admit, like, just watching that demo, I got goosebumps from watching
Now,
it.
wait till you play the entire game. Yeah. That's just a little segment compared to the entirety of that entire game.
Right.
It gets Joel's character, because the things that he has to do for survival, this is, I think, is what's going to attribute to it being an action-adventure game, is that Joel is on an adventure in this post-apocalyptic world where it's a bunch of thieves, bandits, and rapists, and people who have been infected. And they're not zombies. It's actually, they got the idea from the infected people from a fungus that can actually take over an ant's brain and control the ant.
And I have to say, like, kudos to Naughty Dog for not revealing that for a long time. Because when they first introduced the game, I thought it was going to be just humans against humans.
Right.
And I believe that's what it was until so far down the line, where then they finally released that there were other characters or other enemies in the game, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
This whole thing just took a huge turn for something that's going to be a lot bigger. And now that I'm looking at this list again, GTA 5, I don't know that I necessarily look at it as an action adventure game.
That's the thing, though,
is like an exploration game, kind of.
Yeah, it's more of a well-rounded game.
Yeah, it's a weird like kind of fits everywhere kind of. Yeah, it's not just this. No, it's not.
But really quickly, with Joel's character, he has to do when I think of adventure, I think of survival, and he's a man that rescued this girl. And that he's a man who didn't really care for her for a while, and then started loving her like it was his own daughter, because he doesn't have his child anymore. And this is not his flesh and blood daughter, but this is a girl that he's treating as his daughter, and he starts more and more over the game, starts playing the Papa Bear figure, and he starts having, in the game, he has to question his morality. He has to do questionable things. It's not this whole like good versus evil nonsense. He literally has to question things, and he has to do questionable things, and sometimes
kind of like
it can be a gruesome thing.
Kind of like a Walking Dead scenario with Clementine and Lee kind of thing.
Yeah, like there's one scenario scenario. This is not a spoiler, where he's trying to find out the location of the girl, Ellie, after she's been kidnapped. And the soldier tries to keep his mouth shut, and instead he points the gun, and Joel points the gun in the guy's crotch instead of like holding him hostage and trying to get information out of him. He shoots him right in the dick, and then the guy literally is in so much pain, and he gives him another chance. He's like, "Where is she?" Doesn't say anything again. Shoots him in the dick again.
Ow!
And then literally, as he falls to his knees, blows his brains out.
Jeez.
So, but there's a lot of communication between the two, because Ellie sees him changing, and so she'll be like, wow, man, she sees the fact that he just has to kill.
Right. Yeah, you kind of saw that in the E3 demo too. But
you see it tear him apart over time. So that to me is an action adventure, is the fact the action aspect of survival is also mixed with the survival adventure aspect, where it just combines and meshes so well, and especially with the character relationships, that the game is just perfect. And Last of Us gets it hands down.
I think I'm gonna have to agree with Last of Us, just because even though I haven't played it, that E3 demo really was something that looked unique, and again, the AI seemed really competent and really amazing in that. GTA 5 is a great game. Tomb Raider was a lot of fun, and again, it's kind of in that survival kind of role, but in terms of like overall being something that's completely brand new and something we really haven't experienced yet, I feel like Last of Us does, even though I haven't played it. That demo definitely did very well convince me that I should probably get a PS3.
Yeah.
So, all right, we'll go with Last of Us. Next.
Best sports game.
Well, I'm not going to know much about this one.
Yeah, I used to play sports games a lot. I really did.
Same here. I mean, I played a lot of sports growing up. I really enjoyed sports. I still do, but I don't watch it as much as I used to. I get the most fun out of sports games like NBA Jam and NFL Blitz.
Oh yes,
those are the best.
I miss Blitz whenever my brother would always get touchdowns, and I would just keep running down the field and just drop kick him.
Yeah.
Or pick him up and like break his back or something.
Right.
I
will
miss that.
say I have always enjoyed the NBA 2K series since it was on the Dreamcast. I've always found those to be pretty decent games. So I've always liked anything that has to do with the 2K. So I think I'm just going to go with 2K14.
Go for it, yeah.
Just because I've always enjoyed their games, so I would assume and I would like to hope that they're still as good as they were back then. So that's what I'll go with. I do know MLB, their series has been pretty good. I remember playing MLB 2001 on the PlayStation and just loving it. It was such a good game. I had so much fun playing as like Sammy Sosa and doing the home run derby stuff, and it was a lot of fun.
See, that's what the show does perfectly, is like if you play the last couple of versions of MLB the show, the home run derby is superior in every you would love it. If you loved home run derby back then, wait till you play it now. It's phenomenal.
I love home run derby. I used to watch the old like 1930s home run derby show that they used to have on ESPN Classic.
Right.
That was so much fun watching like all these really great people like Mickey Mantle and all the other big one, Babe Ruth, and all these other people from that time period doing home run derby competitions against each other. It was it was friendly competition too. Like they weren't like, oh, you're going down. No, it was like, this is a lot of fun. Let's see how far we can hit these and how many home runs we can hit. And it was a really good show. If you ever have a chance, it's all in black and white, but it's an amazing show to watch. It's the old, like 1930s, 1940s, somewhere around that time period, home run derby series, and it's a really enjoyful, joyful. Yeah. It's a really joyful show to watch and see these old classic baseball players.
But I have another confliction. I've always loved soccer games, especially the FIFA games.
I haven't played. I don't think I've played any.
I don't know. They're actually really fun. Like this is my thing.
Call it soccer, man. Call it football, because
I know.
You use your feet and it's a ball. You don't use your hands and it's not an egg. It's a fucking football.
But okay, so really quickly, MLB, I I love the Home Run Derby, but everything else, it wasn't my cup of tea. I just love Home Run Derby, but so I'm not going to go ahead and give my vote to something that, just is good in one aspect and not the other. FIFA is going to get my vote on this. I'm going to cut the BS. I love the FIFA games. They've always been great to me. All around, I can just go around the entirety of the game and just always have fun.
I know a lot of people who would agree with you. There's nothing wrong with that one at all. All right, we'll move on.
Best independent game. Gone Home.
This is where I get to shine.
Yeah.
Except for Route Zero. I don't know that one. I should look into that one. But Gone Home, Kentucky Route Zero, Papers, Please, and the Stanley Parable. Oh, this is a hard choice. Oh, boy. Okay. I've done playthroughs of Gone Home, Papers, Please, and Stanley Parable. And they are all amazing games. They are all incredibly different experiences, and they're all really well done.
Just say Gone Home.
I really do. I really want to say Gone Home, but Stanley Parable. See, okay.
After this, you're gonna have to tell me a little bit more about Gone Home, and without completely spoiling it. But you're gonna have to let me know what's really gonna click with me.
It's really hard to tell you why you're gonna like that without spoiling it for you. Like, the reason why you'll click with it is a spoiler. It really is. I can't tell you. I really can't. Okay. Oh, man. Papers, Please is an amazing point and click style game where you play as a border patrol guy who lets people through to the country of Arstotzka. And throughout the game, you learn how to accept certain IDs, certain permits. There's a bunch of new things that happen. And then you find out that your country is kind of a dictatorship, and a group of kind of anonymous style characters start coming to you, and they're going to have a full-out assault on the country, and you can choose to help them or not. And it's a really cool game, and one of the awesome things about it is that after each day, there's like 30 or 40 days that you do this. After each day, it'll save a point. So you can actually go back and replay specific days and see if you can get a different timeline split. And then from there, create huge timeline branches to see what each ending is. There's 20 different endings.
That sounds incredible.
It's an amazing game. And it's not anything visually spectacular. It's like a pixel game. But oh my God, it's engaging, and it's really fun and really tense. The Stanley Parable is, I don't know if you've played the Gary's Mod version of it, but it's basically an advanced version of that where you are playing as a character who has a narrator, and as the game progresses, since you're conscious of the narrator, you can actually mess with the narrator, and you can get different endings based on how you mess with the environment and do things the narrator does want you to do or doesn't want you to do, upsetting the narrator, causing him to go crazy, or doing what the narrator wants you to do and make him happy. And it's the level of branching in that is also incredibly high. I know I explored probably 16 to 20 different endings with that too, based on what you can do with the game. For example, in one of them, you get to two open doors, and he says Stanley went through the door on his left. If you go through the door on his right, the narrator goes, this was not the way that Stanley was meant to go, and he knew that perfectly well. Maybe he just wanted to go to the lounge and take a look at it before he went to his boss's office. And then you go into the lounge, he's like, ah, yes, the lounge. Such a great place, now empty. Stanley looked at it and gazed, and then decided to get back on his way. And then if you wait a while, he's like, Stanley decided to get on his way and go to the boss's office. And if you wait longer, it's like, Stanley, what? It really it's incredibly humorous. It's a lot of fun. It's a very funny game, and it's a really good one to play too.
Right.
Gone Home is, again, the most in-depth game I have played in terms of environmental things you can do with the environment, environmental interaction. There's really nothing in everything you can interact with, and you can get such a rich story told to you, because based purely on what you see and interact with. You can either have a really light, here's the basic story, and rush through it, or you can get really into it and really discover what is happening in that game and what is happening in that family's house. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Gone Home. That game really, really surprised me.
I'm thinking of buying it then.
Yeah,
Just to give it a shot. I'd really love to play.
I would recommend every game on this list, even like Kentucky Route Zero. I don't know anything about that one, but if it's in the same caliber as all three of the other games, you need to play it then. Like, these are all incredible titles. I recommend everybody plays every single one of them because they are so good. And one of the things I love about the indie games, is that they're such a breath of fresh air from the AAA market. Like, every single experience is something that you've never experienced before. Papers, Please, never experienced anything like it before. Stanley Parable, never experienced anything like it before unless you played the Gary's mod version. Gone Home, never experienced anything like it before. Like, it's a great time to be an indie developer, and it's a great time to be playing indie games. If you just play AAA titles,
especially with the big support from the major consoles as well.
If you're just playing AAA titles, you are missing out on some of the best games that are around. So I'm going to go with Gone Home, but every single one of these games, even though I don't know Kentucky Route Zero, I think every single one of these games deserves a best game of the year type thing, best independent game. So I'm going to go with Gone Home. I wish I could vote for Gone Home, Papers, Please, and Stanley Parable because they are all amazing.
Now this next one, I'm going to shine.
Best RPG.
Best RPG.
Yeah, I have fallen off of the RPG wagon a long time ago. I need to get back onto it though.
Okay, so we have Final Fantasy XIV Online and Realm Reborn, Fire Emblem Awakening, Ni no Kuni Wrath of the White Witch, which... Yes, and Pokemon X and Y.
Now, I know Ni no Kuni was originally not going to be coming to the States, and then it was enough people wanted it that they brought it to the States. I know a couple people who wanted to get it, and one of the things that kind of frustrated me about it, finding out at least, was like GameStop, for example. If people did not pre-order the game at GameStop, they didn't get any copies. I have a friend who wanted to get a copy but didn't pre-order it, and then when she went to get one, they didn't have any, and so she didn't get a copy for a really long time. But I've heard good things about Ni no Kuni. It
is unlike any RPG you've ever played in this entire generation, and I'll get to that here in a second. I'll actually go down the line here. So starting off with Final Fantasy XIV Online and Realm Reborn, everybody knows what happened with the original Final Fantasy XIV. It was a disaster. The classes and everything were it was atrocious, and Square Enix ended up firing most of the team of the original Final Fantasy XIV team for screwing up. So then they got their new team settled and everything, and they created 14 Online and Realm Reborn. So I did the closed beta, did the open beta, and I do own the final copy.
Fantasy 13 crew in the picture, isn't it?
Yeah, those are costumes. They wanted to give that as like bonus costumes inside. I think they just released the stuff for it. I could be wrong, and I also do own the retail version. Final Fantasy 14 Online, A Realm Reborn, is exactly the perfect sequel to what you would want for another Final Fantasy Online game compared to like the huge success of 11. Even though 11 could have been a masterpiece if it weren't overshadowed by World of Warcraft, which it was a huge success at the time. Actually, World of Warcraft was hitting its prime, actually starting its prime during the release of Final Fantasy 11. So 11 didn't really get much of a chance. 14 Online is everything you have ever wanted to do. The dungeon quests are phenomenal, especially randomly working with other people from different servers and forming groups to go against the likes of Ifrits, Bahamut. There's a lot of them, and it's definitely, there's a lot to talk about, but realistically, it's great.
Yeah.
Fire.
I can't get into online MMOs really.
It takes a lot of patience.
Well, it's not necessarily the patience. It's more or less like I've seen friends of mine play World of Warcraft, RuneScape, and Ultima, and other games like that. And every time I look at them, I'm like, that game looks like a lot of fun, and I know I would enjoy it thoroughly. But I'm not going to touch them because the moment I do, everything goes out the window. You would not see me. You would not hear from me. I would not exist anymore. So I actually purposely stay away from them because I know if I did, I'd get way too involved in them, and I probably would never come out of my room.
Right.
So it's a little bit of self-control and a little bit of I prefer first-person single player experiences anyway. So I just try and stay away from them and prefer my single-player Elder Scrolls style MMO or RPG games. So anyway,
It's Fire Emblem Awakening. I'm actually getting ready to buy that here soon. I've been waiting to play it. I know it's been out for about a couple of months now. I've heard nothing but the greatest things about it. All my hardcore Nintendo 3DS friends really do like it. They really do love it.
It's a 3DS game?
Yeah, it's a 3DS game. But I haven't played it myself, so I'm not going to act like I know what I'm talking about. I've seen, some of the gameplay on it and whatnot. It looks fantastic. Everything looks great on it, but I'm not going to make... I know... I should, play all these games before I can truly make a formidable judgment. But realistically, I don't.
This was an on the whim kind of thing. So
yeah.
Just we'll do what we can and just kind of explore what we know.
But I can say from playing all the other Fire Emblems, I'm sure this one is not in any way a disappointment. I'm sure it's not, because they've always been great games. Ni no Kuni: Wrath of the White Witch.
I really like the visual style of that game.
If you have never seen a Studio Ghibli movie or played a game by Level 5, you are missing out on a lot. You are missing on a fantastic adventure.
What are some of the other games they've made?
Level 5 did. I think they did Lair. Actually, let me actually get you an entire list. That way, more people can actually understand a little bit more of who Level 5 is.
Well, while you're doing that, I know Pokemon X and Y, people are going crazy for that one.
Because I can't remember shit at 3:11 in the morning.
Yeah, we're recording this really, really late. But yeah, people are going crazy about Pokemon X and Y. They've changed a lot of things about that series in this new installment. I actually watched. Someone was playing it during our live stream at Extra Life. Dave was playing it on his 3DS, and it looked really cool. I've never. And people are probably going to give me shit for this. I've never played a single Pokemon game. Never. Not once. I had the cards. I played the card game with not really knowing the rules. I still have the cards. I watched the movie. I liked the TV show. But I never played the game. Not once. Not a single one. And everyone tells me I should. And I know I probably should. But it's a matter of finding the time. A matter of the fact that most of them are on mobile consoles that I don't really play in the first place and all this stuff. But from what I saw from Pokemon X and Y, it looked very cool. The exploration aspect of it now looks really cool and a lot more advanced now that you can kind of skate around, so you can actually move quicker if you want to, which is probably a lot better than moving on a block by block square walking.
The Pokemon X and Y, I own Y. My wife owns X, and I've spent. I think I'm at about 30-something hours on my save file, and I love everything about the game. The new look on the Pokemon, the new battlefield that you're playing on, the Mega Evolutions, that kind of gives it that Digimon effect, where you're kind of giving them.
That's what I keep hearing.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's actually it's a very fresh new look on the battle scene. All the looks and everything, there's so much to do. You can go to major cities and do a lot of different things that you can never do in other Pokemon games. You can literally buy nice clothes. You can find new ways to unlock some of these fancy clothes stores by boosting up your social notice, like how well people know you. Right. You can unlock fancier clothes. You can go to different cafes, hang out, have a cup of coffee,
check your life invader.
Oh, I'm not check my life invader. Because if I get that, if I check my life invader, my head will
explode.
explode. Yeah, but that's a GTA 5 reference for anyone that's interested. It's like the first real mission you do as Michael by himself.
I think I played through that for my playthrough, so I think you guys saw that. Maybe. We'll see.
Yeah,
I don't
but
know.
okay, but back to the to Pokemon. It's overall. No, you're fine. You're fine. Overall, it's a fantastic thing. Actually, the reason why I like it the most is because it's not another 150 friggin' Pokemon that I have to memorize. This time, they actually only created a certain few. I think it was only about like 40 or 50, 60 something.
300 something?
Oh God, no! It's way more than that, man. It's around 500, 600, 700, something like that.
God damn. There's no way I could keep up with that.
But really quickly, they actually brought some of the best Pokemon from every generation, and they brought a lot of them back. Now, a lot of your old favorite Pokemon from every generation, there's a certain amount of them that actually can Mega Evolve.
Right.
My personal favorite, so we'll say from the first generation, Kangaskhan, Alakazam, Gengar, which Gengar will always forever be my favorite Pokemon of all time. I love Ghastly, Haunter, and Gengar. But those three, all those three can do it. Obviously Bulbasaur, Squirtle, Charmander, they all can evolve and then do their Mega Evolution later on after they've hit their third level. But the whole basis of Pokemon X and Y is it's a fantastic game, and I do recommend it as like the #1 contender for a portable game. But it does not win my vote for RPG, because the next one I'm going to mention really quickly who level 5 is before I introduce this game, because there's a lot to say about it.
Right.
They created Dark Cloud 2, Dragon Quest 8. They did all the Professor Layton games, White Knight Chronicles, White Knight Chronicles 2.
Right, that's a
they're
studio.
Yeah, they don't screw around. Ni no Kuni is a game that you have to experience, because the biggest complaint with the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 generation is that the RPG genre, the JRPG genre, is dying.
Dying.
And if you read every major review about Ni no Kuni, they're going to say the same thing. Actually, most of them do say the same thing. It's the revitalization, the rebirth, pretty much, of the JRPG franchise. Because what has happened with JRPG is that it's all gone adult more, and it's meant to, and they try to make it more steampunk or realistic, and it kind of or sci-fi, and it kills the magic. It kills the magic that we loved as children, and so it killed the JRPG franchise.
I'll tell you what I would like to see. What I'd like to see another RPG is like Final Fantasy IX.
It's still my favorite Final Fantasy of all time. I get crap for it by a lot of people.
It's a good game.
Here.
I mean, I would probably. It's definitely up there in one of my favorites of the Final Fantasy.
Well, it's because it left the steampunk, cyberpunk thing for the old school Magic and Dragons approach, which I appreciate more. But with Ni no Kuni, it's all done in an anime style. Right. It's all about young Oliver, who is living this normal, life with, he lives with his mom, and your mom ends up dying of a heart problem in the beginning, and it's very emotional. It's a very heartful thing, because you see this little boy who watched his mother die, and then he's all by himself, and he is holding on to this doll that it was the last thing his mother gave him. The tears from his grief bring this doll back to life, which it was an imprisoned High Lord of the Fairies, Mr. Drippy, who tells you about this other realm that humans have a soulmate in. So, for instance, his mother on Earth has an exact soulmate that looks exactly like her in this other realm. But she's one of the great sages, one of the most powerful people on the planet, who was sworn to protect the planet, and she's been enslaved in a jar by the White Witch. So he tells you of the possibility of bringing your mother back to life if you can free her and stop the White Witch and saving his planet. Oliver thinks it's funny at first that he's being called the chosen one, in a sense. but he decides to go on this magical adventure, which it's a world unlike any you've ever seen before. It's so beautiful, and as I mentioned, it's all anime. It's Studio Ghibli. They are the most well-known cartoon anime company in all of Japan. Any otaku, an anime fan or Japanese fanatic, will tell you, Studio Ghibli, nobody beats them. Nobody beats their animation or their stories. So if you've never,
I'm assuming they're the ones that probably behind things like Princess Mononoke or
you're gonna have
Away or any of
you're gonna have Poppy Hill. You're gonna have the upcoming what's the name of the upcoming animation movie they're doing, and it looks phenomenal. I can't think of it off the top of my head. It's about a princess. Is that the one?
No,
I'm trying to remember
that's
the name.
an old anime movie.
No, but they do.
I have not kept up with my anime.
Ponyo, Poppy Hill. They did Lupin the Third, the movie. They had a lot under their belt.
Right.
And if you've never seen a Studio Ghibli before, you are missing out on some of the greatest adventures and storytelling anybody can ever tell you from Japan. I promise you that. But Ni no Kuni wins my vote because I was sick of JRPGs. But when I played that game, I now have hopes for the future because Studio Ghibli is actually, Level 5 actually even said that they're wanting to work with Studio Ghibli on another game for PlayStation 4.
Cool.
I hope to God that happens because that game, just as every major reviewer has said, it's the revitalization of JRPG. This is what it is.
I'm not sick of JRPGs.
It's not become an adult thing. It's not this whole murder, shooting people. No. It's just a little boy with a wand and a magical world.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not necessarily that JRPGs are that I'm sick of them. It's that I haven't seen any come out anytime lately that sparked my interest or seem like they would be something I would be interested in. Like some of my favorite JRPGs would be like Skies of Arcadia, Final Fantasy IX, Final Fantasy VII. These games that they do have that, some of them do have kind of that serious tone, but they are very, very much,
it's magical. It's fantasy.
Event. Yeah. Like Skies of Arcadia is like my second favorite game of all time. And that game is an amazing adventure, and I really want them to make another one.
Right.
So it's like that you have there are plenty of really good JRPG titles that could be out there, but people aren't making them, or there's no incentive for some reason for them to make them. And I would like to see more of them. But again, there haven't been any that have really appealed to me in the same sense of something like Skies of Arcadia would, or the same sense of old school Final Fantasy would, like PlayStation 1 style, not the most modern ones. So yeah, I feel like there could be a sure revitalization for it as long as they kind of remember what JRPGs were like and really build upon what they were rather than try and make them like you're kind of saying, make them kind of like Western RPGs, I guess.
Right. It's just they stuck to what we loved as kids. When you take the approach that hasn't been used in many years, the whole thing that made us as kids love these games, these stories, and when you go back to it, it hits you with nostalgia.
Right.
And it's an adventure that you really need to experience yourself.
Right. Yeah, I'm going to choose Ni no Kuni too, just because it's really the only one that I know anything about, even remotely. I mean, obviously Pokemon X and Y, I know Pokemon, but I don't know the game really.
Oh, and I must say the voice acting is some of the best ever heard. Okay. Drippy is actually done by a Welsh voice actor. So he you're going to notice in the game that his text is actually skewed. It's really weird looking with the way everything's pronounced, but they actually spell all the words as how a Welsh person would pronounce them.
Interesting.
And it makes him so much more fun and enjoyable to kind of watch and listen to. He does a phenomenal job. So
cool. So I think I'll go with Ni no Kuni as well, just because I know nothing about the Final Fantasy game Fire Emblem. Pokemon XY, I don't really know a whole lot about. Ni no Kuni, everyone seems to be really, really adamant about, so I will agree with that one.
Yeah.
Best fighting. Oh, we got some interesting choices here. Dive Kick, Injustice, Gods Among Us, Killer Instinct. It's not even out yet. and Tekken Revolution. I haven't played Tekken Revolution. Killer Instinct, I have worries about. Injustice, I've heard nothing but good things about, and then Dive Kick, I've heard nothing but amazing things about.
Dive Kick, I've heard fantastic things. I'm just gonna actually cut to the point here. In my opinion, I'm gonna go with Injustice, but I'm gonna talk about why I chose it.
It's Mortal Kombat with superheroes from the DC universe. I mean, that's awesome.
Well, the thing about it is this: I don't know enough about Dive Kick. I've seen some good things. I mean, I've seen some things about it. It looks great.
I'm going to give you a crash course on Dive Kick. All right?
Okay.
You ready for this?
I'm ready.
One button causes you to jump, or I should say, it causes you to jump kind of in a backwards motion. The other button causes you to dive kick, and that's the only buttons you have. That is it. That's how the game works. You can jump and you can dive kick, and it's all about which character you use, how you counteract different dive kicks, and each one has their own kind of special dive kick and how they angle differently. And so it's really just about learning a character, learning how they move, learning how their dive kick can be used against other dive kick characters. It's incredibly simple and incredibly complex at the same time. Like, it's just such a simple concept, but then you play it and you're like, this is really engaging and really something that I've never seen before. It is one of those kind of never experienced something like this before type games. Injustice, again, it's Mortal Kombat, but with DC characters. It's basically Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe, but they made it into an M-rated DC game.
And it is a lot of fun. It's brutal as hell. And
if
I'm just gonna say,
it uses the alternate kind of Frank Miller world where Superman is power hungry, right?
Yes, and Batman leads the opposite group.
Which is cool. I mean, I personally have a thing against Frank Miller's version of hate towards Superman, but but I think it's a cool idea and I like it. I just wish he didn't have such a bias towards Superman. Anyway.
With Killer Instinct, I have a lot of quarrels with.
Me too.
I mean, like, don't get me wrong. I applaud Microsoft and Rare for wanting to bring the franchise back, but there are a lot of quarrels. One,
it's a free game, and you have to pay for each character.
$4.99.
Really? Oh wow.
That I asked Dan Reichert from Game Informer. I said, "Has Microsoft said anything?" He said, $4.99 per character. Why? But that's my problem, is that if you're going to charge me $5 for characters that I've never even touched and I don't know if I would even enjoy, why? That's a waste.
Now, there is a counter argument that obviously could be like, if you have certain characters that you like from the series, you can pay $10, you'll have those two characters and you don't have to buy the rest, which it could work, but I don't know. I feel like when I buy a game, I want to have everything unlocked and ready to go when I buy it. And the other thing is, again, this game hasn't even come out yet. And I feel like this list should be games that are already out, really.
Right. Well,
I mean, it is probably coming out though this year, isn't it? So
it comes out. It comes out this week.
Oh, does it? Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it's on launch. It's a launch title.
That's right. Yeah. I could, like, PS4 just released, and I realized it was releasing, and I'm like, where have I been? Like, what year is it? Same thing with Xbox One. I'm like, what year is it? I don't know.
The future is here.
How are we here already? And Tekken Revolution. I mean, I've loved I loved Tekken 1, 2, and 3. And after that, I really couldn't get into it. Like after 3, I was like, I'm done. I haven't liked it since then.
Tekken has always been my favorite thing. I've done state tournaments with Tekken and whatnot under playing as Lei Wulong. I love Lei.
He's Jackie Chan.
Yeah. I love Tekken so much. It's always been my favorite fighting series. But Revolution it's nothing impressive, and I'm going to be the first one to say that it's nothing impressive.
Lei Wulong is Jackie Chan. Lee is Bruce Lee. I mean. Those are the two characters that I use.
Right.
I think those are the two characters most people use when they play that game. It's like, it's Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan. Okay, cool. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Dive Kick just because, again, I think it's a unique game that hasn't been made before. But Injustice, I think, also deserves it just as much because it's DC with Mortal Kombat, the Mortal Kombat guys, and that's an amazing combination. So I'm gonna go with Dive Kick.
Sounds good.
All right. Best.
This one I'm
Right.
going to suck at.
All right. F1. I don't play F1 games. Grid 2.
I played Grid and I hated the controls.
I played Grid for a little bit. Wasn't too into it. Forza. I played one of them and it was okay. I don't see the real appeal to it. Need for Speed is my series. I love Need for Speed, but I feel like recently, well, I shouldn't say that. Need for Speed was doing really well. Need for Speed 1, Need for Speed 2, Need for Speed 3, Need for Speed High Stakes, Porsche Unleashed, Hot Pursuit, Hot Pursuit 2, Most Wanted, which is my favorite the Need for Speeds.
I'm a hot pursuit guy.
Need for Speed, Most Wanted, and then Carbon. I thought they were all great titles. And then something happened where they did Need for Speed Undercover, and that game was atrocious. It was terrible. I didn't like it at all. And from there, Need for Speed just kept going downhill. There was that Need for Speed The Run, where it just looked really bad. I never played it, but it looked really bad. But then, just out of nowhere, they decided, you know what? The guys who have made Burnout are now going to make Need for Speed. And I was like, I've played like one Burnout game, and I'm already on board for this. And Hot Pursuit, the new Hot Pursuit came out, and I was like, yeah, this game's amazing.
It's that. See, now I was about to say, if this were Hot Pursuit and not Rivals, hands down, I would choose.
Right,
Need
but
for
if
Speed.
you're looking at it, it does say Criterion Games. Criterion didn't make Need for Speed Rivals, so I would like to think that they are making a title that's just as good as Hot Pursuit. I didn't play Most Wanted that they made. I know they made a version of Most Wanted. I'm talking about old Most Wanted. That's my favorite. I haven't played the new one. But if Rivals is anything like Hot Pursuit, I'm sure it's a great game. But I don't know. So I'm going to go with Rivals just because it's the only one that I feel like I have any kind of connection to. If it's Criterion Games making a game like Hot Pursuit, I'm all on board because I love that game and it was a lot of fun.
Right.
If you have not played the newer Hot Pursuit by Criterion Games, you need to check it out because it's a lot of fun, and you get spike strips that you can use against the police and all this other fun stuff. So what are you gonna go with?
I'm going to go with Need for Speed as well.
Okay.
Just because I'm going to take a shot in the dark.
Right. Okay. Next, best DLC.
Oh, I already have my answer picked.
All right. So
and I think you know what that is.
Yeah, I know what yours is. Borderlands 2, Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon Keep. I haven't even touched Borderlands 2. I have it, and I haven't had a chance. Dishonored, The Knife of Dunwall. I've heard nothing but amazing things about Dishonored. Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon.
Dishonored is incredible.
Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon is Tim's pick. And I can understand why. It looks amazing. Mass Effect 3 Citadel was an amazing DLC that I personally adored. I think my pick's going to be Mass Effect 3 Citadel. I know yours is going to be Blood Dragon, but the Mass Effect 3 Citadel DLC was... which one? Okay, hang on a second. I can't remember which one is that.
Citadel was after they finalized everything with that extra extended ending.
Is that the... Well, no. Is Citadel the shore leave one? Where everybody goes on the shore leave?
It is... I'm trying to remember.
And you organize the party? I think that's that one. And if it is, I really, really love that one.
Okay, so according to the wiki, because I'm trying to remember what it is. It opens new areas of the Citadel, offers new attractions in the Citadel, an opportunity to connect with characters from the series.
So it's the party one.
Yeah, it's the party one.
So that's also okay. Maybe minor spoilers here. So that's the one with the party, and then Shepard gets captured.
I believe so. I never actually played the Citadel.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you need to play it because
I did the extended and everything. I just never did the Citadel.
Oh, okay. I'm going to go with Citadel because, what I loved most about Mass Effect 3 Citadel's DLC is that it tailored to the kind of B-roll film thing, kind of like Blood Dragon, actually. It's incredibly over the top. It uses a lot of 80s movie cliches in science fiction, and It's incredibly like the writing of it is incredibly over the top, and so like every line that's delivered seems incredibly cliched and just
You would love
incredibly just overly enjoyable. Like you would like it. I know you would. If you like Blood Dragon, you'd love it.
Yeah.
So my pick's going to be Mass Effect 3 Citadel. I love Mass Effect. It's my favorite game series, actually. So that's going to be my choice. And
you can't go wrong with Mass Effect. It just was a fantastic. I still love 2 the most, especially with the DLC and everything.
I love 2 the most as well. Though Mass Effect 3 Citadel, the DLC on its own would probably like almost put 3 up next to 2. Like that alone was really, really well done. So Mass Effect 2, yeah, it's still my favorite of the 3. But that DLC was really well done. It was kind of just like, fuck it, let's have some fun. Like that's basically all it was. So similarly to Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon. So I know your pick is Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon.
Oh, yeah.
Why don't you explain why?
Okay, so Blood Dragon is a very unique thing. It's a standalone DLC. It does not require Far Cry 3 to actually play it. So you can actually personally download it, and I've seen it on sale quite a few times from the $15 to $7.50.
Yeah, I keep considering it.
It stars the main character Rex Power Colt, and it was just it's an awesome name. And you're going in during okay, so the environment is decked out like how we envision. It looks exactly like Tron. It's decked out in the same exact colors as how we've looked at the future when we were in the 1980s. That's how cinema looked at stuff. And all the loading screens are done like a VHS loading tape. Like you actually see like all the fuzziness and such as it's loading.
Right.
That's exactly how it's done. It's just exactly like Citadel. It's pumped full of 80s movie references. And Rex Power Colt is just this all-American badass who says a lot of random things a lot. Like you can like shoot a guy in the face or do something to his tongue and be like, yeah, I got your tongue or something, and he'll say it, it's just
hard one-liners pretty much.
Exactly. It's so good. There's even an internet reference when you actually have the Blood Dragon near the end of the game, and as you're blowing everybody up with lasers and mutilating everybody with them, it says like the most terrifying things. If I were riding on a dragon, I'd probably be like, nah, dude, you're weird. But there was like one where he's like, I'm a fire in my lasers. And then there was another one where he said, genocide is fun. I am sad and happy. This guy is fucking crazy. It's incredible. Rex, it's the perfect action movie reference ever, because when you see the starting of a game where they shake hands and then he gets himself prepared by putting on his gloves and doing something else and then adjusting his nutsack, it's going to be an awesome experience.
All right. So it's basically a 1980s movie about the future, but as a game.
With lasers and shit.
With sharks with freaking lasers on their heads. No.
Yes, there are. There's. I'm dead serious.
Oh
if you
God.
Swim in the water, there's laser sharks.
That's awesome.
There's laser sharks in the water.
That's awesome.
They're really I don't know. They're like neon laser sharks. So, but best Xbox game is the next one.
Okay, best Xbox game. We got
BioShock Infinite, Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons. Sorry, my chair is squeaking. Grand Theft Auto 5 and Tomb Raider.
Now, only one of these is it's not even an exclusive.
I was actually about to ask.
Yeah, Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons is on Xbox, and then it's also on PC.
Should we just give it to Brothers since that's like the only real exclusive?
Yeah, say all of the others are multi-platform, and I kind of feel like that's unfair.
Yeah, we'll just give it to Brothers.
Let's give it to Brothers. It's actually a really cool game. You control both characters with dual analog sticks. So the left one controls the left brother, or one brother, and the right stick controls the other brother. And you have to like really retrain your brain on how to use both analog sticks in conjunction with each other to do tasks.
Right.
So it's a really cool concept, and it's by, I could have sworn it was, no, it's not. Never mind. I was going to say it's by the people who made Fable, but no, that's not true. So, okay,
right.
Move on.
Okay, this one's pretty easy. Just click Last of Us and move on.
That one's going to be Last of Us. And Rayman Legends hasn't been mentioned yet, even though it's multi-platform. We do have to say that game's amazing.
Yeah, of course.
So much fun. All right, so Last of Us. I did a playthrough of the whole thing. You can go watch it on the channel if you want. Okay, best Nintendo game. So
Super Mario 3D World isn't actually out yet at this current moment. The Wonderful 101 I hear is great, but the problem is that I got to have a lot of extensive playtime with Pikmin 3 and Rayman Legends in New York, and I must say,
now
that's a tough one.
Right, now Rayman Legends was designed originally for the Wii U, and it takes advantage of the Wii U gamepad using the character of what's his name, Murphy.
Murphy.
And so, they've done some really cool, innovative things that they had to kind of streamline for the PC and other platforms. If you guys watched my playthrough, you guys know about how Murphy plays through with normal controllers like the Xbox 360 controller. You just basically one button push, and that's all you do. So I can imagine Murphy being pretty entertaining. Rayman Legends, in my opinion, is the best platformer of modern day. Like, I put him above Mario. So I think my pick will probably be Rayman Legends, since it was, again, originally designed for the Wii U, and it was supposed to be an exclusive, and then they just kind of streamlined it for other consoles. So in terms of it being a unique experience for the Wii U, I'll say Rayman Legends.
I agree completely. Pikmin 3, as great as it was, wasn't as thrilling and just addicting as hell as Rayman Legends.
Right.
I will say that. So,
like, if you haven't played Rayman Legends, you really need to play it, because it's basically platforming perfection. Like, it's everything we've learned about platforming since the 1980s, and it's just taking every single thing that makes a platforming game good and putting it all together and making an absolutely amazing game. Rayman Origins is just the same thing too. Like, they're both perfect games, and they can make Rayman Origins, Rayman Legends, and then Rayman Legendary or Rayman Retribution, and I will play them. Like,
right.
I will just keep playing this game, and the art style is amazing. Everything about it is amazing. So Rayman Legends. Let's move on.
Sounds good.
Best PC game. Oh, this is what you were talking about. Okay.
This is what I was talking about.
Before we were recording, he was like, well, this is a bunch of indie games and then Battlefield 4. I'm like, that's weird. So, okay, Battlefield 4, Gone Home, Papers, Please, Stanley Parable. We've talked about all of these. Best PC game. I think
I want to give Gone Home a chance, but I have yet to. I need to buy it. I'm about to buy it.
I want to say, like, in terms of what makes a PC game, I think it should go to Battlefield 4, just because it pushes the envelope. PC's known for always being ahead of everybody else. It really tries to do as much as it can with what you can do with a PC. Gone Home, Papers, Please, and Stanley Parable are all amazing titles, and they're all unique experiences that all do their own thing, but they're not pushing the envelope. They don't need to be PC games, is what I'm saying.
Right.
And while Battlefield 4 is coming to PS4 and Xbox One, it is a PC game. So I'm going to say Battlefield 4, just because it is a PC game. It is designed for PC, whereas the rest of these, they don't need to be. They would work on any console. Papers, Please would be a little bit troublesome just because it uses a mouse primarily, but otherwise, like, they could all work on any game system, current gen, next gen. It doesn't matter. Battlefield 4, it is a PC game, so I'll go with Battlefield 4.
Right. I that's what I'm doing as well.
Okay. No offense to those other games; they're all brilliant games. All right. Best handheld. I know fucking nothing about it.
Okay, I'm just gonna simplify this because
I want to go with Zelda just because it's.
I want to go with Zelda easily just because A Link to the Past will always be my favorite.
Tearaway. That doesn't look.
Tearaway.
It doesn't look familiar, but it sounds familiar.
Yeah, it's done by the creators of Little Big Planet.
Okay, I'm thinking of a different game. Never mind. I was thinking of a game that's actually on PC.
I'm just going to simplify this. X and Y, hands down, is the best handheld game. The reason why I say that currently is because if I got the chance to play A Link Between Worlds right now, as of right now, it's not released. I bet you I'd be choosing A Link Between Worlds because I still say it, and I'm going to say this the billionth time. A Link to the Past is my favorite Zelda, and this is the sequel, and I want to play it more than anything.
Right.
So I'm going to go with Pokemon X and Y just because I played it.
Right. Since I have no,
just choose Zelda.
Right. Since I know nothing about any of well, not that I know nothing about them, but since I haven't played any of them, and since I really like Link to the Past, I'm gonna go with A Link Between Worlds, and I'll basically be your pick for you.
There you go.
All right. So, yeah, if you guys, I love Legend of Zelda. I haven't played all of them. I've played Link to the Past, not yet to completion. I'm still working on it. I'll get to it. Don't worry. And then I played Ocarina of Time. I played, what was the one with the wolf? Twilight Princess.
Twilight Princess.
And so those are my Zelda experiences so far. I've played all of those. I hear Skyward Sword's pretty good, but I don't have a
It is. It is. It takes a little bit to get used to, but it's actually pretty good.
Best casual game.
Animal Crossing New Leaf, hands down.
Animal Crossing New Leaf, Disney Infinity. Everyone's going nuts over that game.
Yes,
People are going nuts about that.
Yes.
Plants vs. Zombies 2, It's About Time. I am loving that game on my tablet. And then Skylanders Swap Force, which is, if I remember correctly, very similar to Disney Infinity, but with
Skyland
and stuff.
Yeah. Skylanders were the first ones to the tape.
Skylanders was first, and then Infinity people are now going crazy for. I haven't played any but Plants vs. Zombies 2. I am adoring Plants vs. Zombies 2. It's a free game. You don't need to buy anything, and it's incredibly hectic. I actually don't know that I would necessarily even call it a casual game because it can get pretty intense. But I'm going to go with Plants vs. Zombies 2.
I'm going to grab Animal Crossing New Leaf on this one.
That's a console game, though, isn't it?
No, that's portable.
Oh.
Yeah.
Best?
I've put like 50 hours into that game.
Nice. All right. Best voice actor: Troy Baker as Joel, Troy Baker as Booker DeWitt, Stephen Ogg as Trevor Phillips,
Troy Baker as Trevor Phillips, and Troy Baker as Nathan Dawkins.
and Willem Dafoe as Nathan Dawkins. I mean, I like Willem Dafoe. He's a good actor.
He is.
But I don't feel like we should. Not to say that he doesn't deserve it, but the dude is in film, and I'm sure he has awards already. So I kind of want to give it to someone who's, new or is purely kind of known in just the voice actor realm.
And I think Stephen Ogg is like the perfect underdog. He was the guy that just completely came out of nowhere
and fucking nailed it. Trevor Phillips he's amazing. And it just everything about his character is so over the top and so outrageous that you just fall in love with the character because he's so crazy.
Right.
Booker is very kind of monotone. It's a first-person game, and you're playing as him. So a lot of times with those kinds of games, you want to feel like you are that character.
Right.
That's why I like games like Half-Life, where the character is silent. And I think it works very well. Halo to a certain extent. Not so much anymore, but early on, like the first Halo, he was relatively quiet. But yeah, Booker wasn't too big on him. Joel. Obviously, you think Joel's a great character.
Joel. If Trevor Phillips, if Stephen Ogg were not on here, it would be going to Joel, hands down.
But
because that was a masterpiece of a performance.
But yeah, Trevor, the character of Trevor is just he just came out of nowhere and just blew up everything, quite literally and metaphorically. Just everything was amazing about his performance. So I think we are both agreeing we are going to go with Trevor Phillips, Stephen Ogg, and we're even considering we're going to email him and see if we can get some voicemail or text tone things from Trevor. So we'll keep on that one. All right, best voice actress. So,
now this one's interesting. I think it's all four of them are excellent choices.
There we go. I was my page, Ellen Page's Jodie Holmes wasn't loading. I'm like, what's going on? Why isn't she there? Okay. So Ashley Johnson as Ellen Page. We have
no.
Courtney Draper as
it's Ashley
Ellen
Johnson.
Page. We have. I know. All right.
No,
so Ashley Johnson as Ellie.
It's Troy Baker as Lara Croft.
Courtney Draper as Elizabeth. Camilla Luddington as Lara Croft. Ellen Page as Jodie Holmes.
Ellen Page as Troy Baker.
Yeah. Troy Baker as Ellen Page.
Or Troy Baker as Troy Baker.
Yeah. All right. So
there's not enough Troy Baker in this. I'm not comfortable making a decision.
This is a tough choice for me. I've only played two of these.
As much as I loved Ellie, she was remarkable. She's my second choice, but my pick, honestly, is to Courtney Draper's Elizabeth. Elizabeth's character was phenomenal, to say the least.
I am torn personally between Elizabeth and Laura Croft. Like the game itself was good for Tomb Raider, but like her portrayal of Laura Croft was really really well done. And it was believable. It was incredibly believable. You know, when she was in pain, when she was being, you know, when she got stabbed, all these other things, the horrible things that happened to the character. I believed every single second of it. Like it was really well done. Elizabeth, same thing. Elizabeth is a character that you like really start to really care about, and you really want to make sure that she's safe. And then it's just, oh boy, it's a tough choice. I haven't played Beyond Two Souls. I hear that the acting in that is really good. I mean, same people who made Heavy Rain, so I'm sure the story is amazing.
Oh yeah.
Last of Us, obviously, again, I haven't played it. I don't have a PS3. Going to eventually, because they're going to go down in price as soon as now that the PS4 is out. But anyway,
I went with Courtney.
right.
I definitely went with it.
Yeah, both of them were really, really good, and it's hard for me to try and put this in perspective because I played Tomb Raider months and months and months ago before I even started my channel, and then Elizabeth is obviously a little bit further up, and since I just played through Burial at Sea, it's a little bit more.
Is it good? Because I was going to buy it.
It's really good.
Yes.
I really enjoyed it. It gets a little frustrating, but it's really worth playing.
Do I have to rebeat Infinite?
No.
Oh,
I wasn't
God.
worried about that because I uninstalled the game.
Well, because I beat it on console.
Okay, right. But yeah, it's worth it. I really enjoyed it. That is a really tough choice because they both really brought their characters to life. I think I'm gonna go with Elizabeth. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Elizabeth just because since I recently played Burial at Sea, the Elizabeth in that game really she did a good job with that DLC. So we'll go with Courtney Draper as Elizabeth with Camilla Luddington right neck and neck, slightly behind. All right, best soundtrack.
And I'm going to take this time to make a suggestion that we rule out Grand Theft Auto because it's just a bunch of songs from.
It's just copyrighted music.
Yeah. I'm not gonna as much. Don't get me wrong. Don't hate us.
To be fair, though, some of the best stuff in GTA 5 are the random news and talk shows that are on the radio.
Yes,
they are amazing. And if you want to include that in a quote unquote soundtrack, then I would consider it. What do you want to do that? Like soundtrack, do you want to just consider it the random ramblings of talk show hosts and things like that on there?
See that's a difficult one because I don't think that would be
it's not
fair.
Right, it's not fair because it's not music, it's not composed, but it is written and it is a thought-provoking thing that they do too. It can be just as complicated as writing a piece of music.
I mean, if you want to do it just for joking around purposes, just for shits and giggles, I guess we can go with it.
Right.
But I still have my mindset.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, we'll leave Grand Theft Auto 5 then out. So,
I was about to say you can. I mean, on your choice, you can definitely leave Grand Theft Auto 5.
I wouldn't choose it, but I'm just saying, like, to be fair, it does have that merit to it, and those things are always really interesting to listen to. I love listening to the radio in GTA 5 and GTA in general. Bioshock Infinite, Ni no Kuni, Last of Us. Something's happening with the thumbnail there for some reason. Anyway.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Oh, does it say Spike for you as well?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, I wasn't going crazy. All right.
Yeah.
So Bioshock Infinite had really good music. I really liked all of the kind of subtle hints towards different songs redone in like a 1950s kind of style. What was it? God Only Knows Where No, not that one. What was the song? It's right near the beginning. You hear a quartet singing it together, and I can't remember what it is. But but it's normally kind of a little more upbeat and stuff, and they make it into like this weird kind of quartet style song, and it's really well done. Um, I don't know. Last of Us and Ni no Kuni I can't really talk about, obviously. So I guess my pick would have to be Infinite then.
Infinite is definitely has a remarkable soundtrack.
Right. So what's your choice?
I am going with, okay, so this one was a hard one. As much as I love the music for The Last of Us, the BioShock Infinite soundtrack was absolutely phenomenal. But mine goes to Ni no Kuni. The reason being is because it is a gorgeous, beautiful soundtrack done by the Tokyo Philharmonic Orchestra.
I have no doubt it's amazing. Usually JRPGs have some of the best music.
It actually, the uniqueness about it is even when you just listen to the music, you get this vibe. You get that nostalgia vibe that you got as a kid when you knew that you were about to go on a magical adventure, and when you hear it, you get it. You get that feeling, and that's something that you don't normally get out of some JRPG soundtracks. This one, you get it.
Right.
So,
okay. All right. Next, best song in a game.
Ooh.
So, ADHD Kendrick Lamar in GTA 5. Sleepwalking performed the Chain Gang of 1974 in Grand Theft Auto 5.
Will the circle be broken?
Ooh, I'm gonna go with that one, hands down.
I'm trying to remember what that one is.
That was right. There's a spot where you can pick up a guitar in the game. You can miss it, so you may not have even. But it's also credits.
I probably listened to it in the credits. BioShock, let's see here. It's BioShock in...
But it basically is just like, Booker finds his guitar, puts his gun down, picks the guitar up, and just starts randomly starting to play the song, and then Elizabeth sings Will the Circle Be Unbroken? And she finds like this little apple, and she sees like a boy hiding under the stairs, and she like hands the apple to the boy as she's singing it. Very, very well done. And it's a great break of pace because you're just, action, action, action. And then you get this kind of just this relief, for a little bit of respite before you have to get back into it. It's really well done. I'm going to go with Will the Circle Be Unbroken.
I'm actually listening to it now, and I do remember the song.
Okay.
I do. So I'll do that one as well.
Right.
Because I was thinking of like, I love Survival by Eminem. I actually thought that was really good.
All these other ones I feel like are just, actual songs, whereas this one was made for the game. So we'll go with that one.
And now we have
most anticipated game, which we discussed this before we started recording. So we have Destiny, Titanfall, South Park, The Stick of Truth, The Witcher 3, and Watch Dogs. And Tim and I both agree, South Park, The Stick of Truth seems like the most arbitrary of those choices. He also was saying that Witcher, also seems a little arbitrary. But Destiny, Titanfall, and Watch Dogs all seem like legitimate ones, especially them coming up pretty soon. I think for me, I think the one that I am most excited to play is Destiny. When I first saw that game being shown off, I was not impressed in any way. I was just like, okay, this just seems like, another game by Bungie, kind of a Halo feel to it, which is okay. Right. I like the Halo games. They're all right. It wasn't until there was that giant, community battle thing or whatever.
Right.
When that happened and you saw all these other people playing the game and they all were coming together to face this giant, boss thing, when I saw that, I was like, I have never seen anything like that before. You have convinced me now to buy a PS4. That was it. I saw that and I was like, okay, you have sold me. That part of that game completely blew me away, and I was not expecting that at all. It looks amazing. I think second up would probably be Watch Dogs for me. That game has continued a train of hype that has not really diminished at all. And for them to keep the hype up that high for as long as they have has been amazing, and I'm extremely excited to see what they can do with that game.
Destiny is looking to be great. Have you've been watching some of the recent recent being probably about like a month ago when they started revealing some more of their gameplay videos?
I have not. I usually, most of the time, I try to like see kind of the first showing of things, most of the big announcements, E3, but I don't want to get too much information. I like to stay in the dark at some points.
Right.
And Destiny is one of those games that I want to kind of stay in the dark on.
Right.
So I'm not engulfing too much after seeing that E3 demo where I had my mind blown and I was like, okay, you've already convinced me. I don't need to see anything else. When that happens, I go into the dark.
Right. But let's see here. My most anticipated game is a game that I'm not actually mad that they pushed it back. I'm actually, happy that, that at least they're trying to make sure it's the perfect quality. And that's Watch Dogs.
Right.
I don't think I've ever been so excited for a game like that, especially from Ubisoft, in a long time. And it looks incredible. It looks absolutely incredible. And I think anybody who's ever seen any of the gameplay videos, the trailers, would definitely agree with me on that.
Yeah.
But my second pick would definitely be Destiny, hands down. It looks incredible.
Right. And just to be fair and talk about everything on here, South Park: Stick of Truth. The trailer for that game. It's very difficult to tell what is the game and what is.
It's an RPG.
Right. And
yeah,
it looks like they just basically made the show. We've gotten to that point, which is pretty cool, that we can have a game that looks exactly like its show counterpart without any sense of this doesn't look, it feels and looks and everything just like the show would.
Right.
I know a lot of people who really love The Witcher and are super excited for The Witcher 3. And I'm surprised that wasn't put into it's not out yet, obviously, but it might be put into best PC game for next year, possibly. Because that is definitely a PC game. So people are super excited for that one. I have the first Witcher, but I haven't played it yet. So I don't know really what to think about The Witcher. It looks really cool, and all I hear are good things about it. And to be fair, Titanfall looks like it's a really refreshing new game.
It's made by the creators of Call of Duty as well. And
I have to give them props for making something that looks brand new and looks incredibly fun and engaging. They've been, obviously Call of Duty is a lot of the same, and for them to make something that looks entirely fresh is really nice to see. So, new IPs are always good, and seeing something like that really has me excited for what they can do with it. So hopefully
they're as successful, because everything that they went through with Activision, hopefully they're really successful with this.
And hopefully we don't see Titanfall 2 next year.
Let's
not do that. Okay, let's not.
But that was. I don't think that was their decision. I think that was something that they were forced to by Activision.
But still though, let's be careful here, guys. Titanfall is a cool new IP. Let's treat it with some respect, and let's not butcher it. let's not milk it for everything it's worth. So, and I think that's everything, isn't it?
That is everything.
I hit next year, game of the year. So I hope this was kind of just an on the whim thing. I hope you guys like this. It's probably super long, probably an hour or so of us just kind of talking about these awards. But I hope you guys will enjoy listening to this. If you just kind of put it on the background, that's perfectly fine. It's not like there was anything super video intensive other than just me clicking. It's not Cookie Clicker.
Right.
But yeah, let us know what you guys think for each category. What you think, if you agree with us, if you disagree with us, points that we missed, points that you thought we were wrong on, something maybe that I said that was not factually correct. Maybe I made some mistakes, or Tim made a mistake, or just let us know. So we would like to hear your comments. What do you think is the game of the year? And the other things that are in this whole thing. So, your game of the year, what's your studio of the year? What game do you think is the best indie game of the year? There's a lot of them. So, but thank you all so much for watching. You guys are what make this channel happen, and I thank you very much for that. And I will catch you in the next video.
Take care.